Welcome, everyone. I want to welcome everyone for being here this afternoon. As you might already know, WindowsWear is a resource that's used by over 24,000 people all around the world. And we absolutely love to highlight all the creativity and all the innovation and all the excitement that our industry creates all around the world. And every week, we host a WindowsWear live session. The session that you're on right now. We host it on Zoom, on our social media, on our LinkedIn, on our Instagram, on our Facebook. And it's really meant to be a conversation. It's a great way for us all around the world to get to know all the various innovators in our industry and learning who they are, what they do, and how they do it. And we're based here in New York City, but we've got members all around the world. And today we've got our member, Argineering, who David Arian, who is the CEO and founder, he's actually coming into this conversation live in Cairo, Egypt. And his partner, one of the other members of his team, Zach Strapolopoulos, is also coming in from London. So it's fantastic that we're all a global community and we can be anywhere around the world, but at the same time, we have this ability of connecting with each other through these online digital platforms. Now, Argineering is a relatively new company, but at the same time, they're working with many different brands and retailers all around the world. And I think as you'll see from their presentation, they're really taking this concept of animation and animatronics and creating movement within visual displays, something that I think a lot of brands want to have, but maybe they don't necessarily have the resource to execute. And they're really democratizing this concept of animation and visual displays. And as you see with their presentation, you'll see that they have a very innovative approach. And obviously we all live in a digital world. We live in a social media world, but at the same time, that animation in the window displays, there's a special magic there. And I think it's something that is something that we all want and we all want to achieve. It's just a matter of how to do it. So that being said, David, I'd love for you to take it from here and share with us more about
Sure.
about what you've got going on. And I know that you're going to also share with us some of the projects that you've worked on. So thank you so much for being here and sharing with us about your story.
Sure. So thank you for this introduction. Hello, everyone. So let me tell you more about Argineering. So Argineering was founded to reimagining the way designs interact with people. And the idea is about creating dynamic, interactive, moving displays. And this moving displays or interactive designs, how can they create a connection between the brand and the human, or a connection between the brand and the customers? So it's not only about creating interaction, but how we can make this interactive design more accessible, more easy, or how we can democratize this interactive moving displays. So this is why we invented ArchiCad Play. And ArchiCad Play is your go-to gadget to turn any static displays, exhibition, designs into interactive space. So as you see, it's a gadget. It's very handy, very super easy to use. It consists of different motors, sensors, and an application where you can control everything. So I will go deep in detail in ArchiCad and how it works, and then I will show you some examples. So ArchiCad Play consists of three main parts. The first one is ArchiCad modules. So they are like this, yeah. And then ArchiCad app and ArchiCad accessories. ArchiCad modules, they are divided into two parts. And you can see here, it's like color coded. There is like the orange part, which they are animate modules. They are motors and light controllers. So we have three animate modules. We have two motors to cover all the different movements that we can do in a store window or in an installation or maybe inside the store. And we have the one in the middle, which is the plugger, which the plugger controls the lights, and not only controls the lights, but actually it controls the intensity or the power that goes to the light. So you can turn it on and off, but you can play with the intensity. You can plug to it any type of lights, or you can plug it, for example, a fan or another motor from a third-party motor, and you can control the fan speed, or you can control the motor or the light intensity. And then there is the rotator and the angular, which are motors, as I said, and you can play with them to create different type of movement. I will go through it in more detail into the examples. So this was the first part in ArchiCad, and the second parts are the sensors, or we call them the field modules. So we have a bunch of field modules. The two main field modules are the touch and proximity. The touch sensor is a sensor that detects when someone touches it. But the beauty in this is that you can put it behind the window or behind the glass of the store window. And when someone touch from outside, it can detect through the glass. Or for example, if you put it beneath a table or behind a piece of wood, and a person touch the other side of the table or this piece of wood, it can detect the touch through the material. So this is the touch sensor. And the second one is the proximity. So the proximity can detect when someone is by. Not only that, it also detects and the sensor. So for example, if someone comes closer to the store window, for example, you can play, for example, with the speed of the motor. So the motor become faster. Or when someone come closer, the light become brighter. So, and it can detect up to 1 meter, which is around 3.5 feet. And then there is other type of sensor, which is like the light sensor. It can detect if it's day or night. It can detect if someone used, for example, the flash of his phone to take a video. There is like a tilt sensor, a knob, a button. So you have a bunch of sensors to use it to create interactive and to make your design feel and interact with the customer. So this is regarding the field modules and animate modules. Then the question is how you can control it. So instead of writing like a lot of lines of code and going to a programmer or an engineer to do this, we created ArchiCad app, which is very handy. It's super easy to use. You just drag and drop your module. They connect wirelessly to the modules. And also the modules, for example, the motor and the sensor, they connect wirelessly to each other. So you don't need to have like a lot of wire inside the installation. It's like it connects through Wi-Fi. They create their own network of Wi-Fi, and they connect to each other and to your app. And as you see on the right side, for every module, you have a bunch of parameters. So for example, you can control the speed of the motor, you can control the start angle, the end angle, you can start the acceleration, duration, everything. And when you just click play, the installation starts to become alive and everything is moving and the installation is active. And when you click play, you don't need your computer or your laptop anymore. Now it's on the module, you uploaded the program through Wi-Fi when you click play with 0 line of code. So, and from our previous experience, this is like give to the brands a lot of flexibility because, you know, when you are preparing the project, you don't know exactly what is the speed of the motor, you know, or how to adjust it. You need to see it live. And a lot of time when after installing the window or after installing the installation, the creative manager of the brand or of the production agency take his computer instead in front of the store window, open ArchiCad app and start adjusting every moment, you know? So instead of doing it like going through the process of hiring engineer, doing a lot of coding, robotics, and all this. You can do it on the app. I would say it reduced the time from like 4 weeks to an hour, And also the idea of ArchiCad, it's now you have the modules, you have the motor and sensor, you program it through the app, which is like a drag and drop, which with the drag and drop interface. But then for your next store window or for your next installation, your next window scheme, you can reuse the motors, but you can change the parameter of each motor to create a different type of movement. So it's like a reusable, So this is regarding the app. And the third part inside ArchiCad, which is ArchiCad accessories. And this gives you like more room to connect your design to your motors and create and make that process easy. So you have, for example, a conveyor belt where you can put your product or your design on it and they all come with like step-by-step instructions similar to IKEA, how to mount it, how to put every part into it. On the top right of the screen, you can find like this accessory, we call it the joint accessory. And you can use it to open a door or close a window. There is a pulley on the bottom right of the screen where you can like pull something. It can lift up from the ground up to 5 or 10 kilos, depending on which type of pulley you are using. So this is the ArchiCad accessories. They are all made of metal and wood, and you can use it to connect easily your design to the motors. So it's very similar to the Lego, but for store window. So this is the three main parts of ArchiCad: ArchiCad modules, ArchiCad app, and ArchiCad accessories. So let's go to the projects, and I'm going to walk you through the projects, some of them. So let's start by Charles Turret, which was a window. It was done in London and New York. So let's see the video. So a window like this was like when someone touch it, the mannequin inside the hoop goes round from the right to the left in the store window. And this type of store window, like it created like an engagement moment with the customers. And you see, it's people don't only see the design, but they can touch it. In some windows, they can hear it, So this moment of interaction, as you see, you can see this person is touching the store window with the smile when the mannequin moves from the right to the left. And I was there the first day of the installation, and everyone goes in front of the windows, they tried it. And then when they see it in action, they automatically take their phone and video shoot it. And definitely they are going to send it to another one or put it on social media. And this is how brands can create a moment of engagement with their customers. So this is an example. Let's go to another one. Yeah. So for this example, I will go more into detail how it was done. There were a touch sensor behind the sign of touch here. And with this sensor, there were like the mannequin inside the hoop. And sorry, yeah. Yeah. So when someone touches the sensor, there is the hoop, and the hoop is attached to the rotator, which is one of the animate module. It's a motor. And the rotator is attached to the pulley accessory. And as you see with the arrows, when the pulley rotates, it pulls the mannequin and the hoop to the left. And there were another pulley on the other one that make it move to the other one. And then when the mannequin inside the hoop reaches the end of the window, we added a proximity sensor. So when the sensor detects the mannequin, it stops. It gives the order, to the motor to stop. So this is how it was. And it was like very easy, very simple to implement, very direct to make it on the app. So this is the project. Let's go to the other project, which was the Halloween. And it was in Hedonism Wine. It was a store in Mayfair in London. And as you see, this girl like putting his hand on the store window to touch here. And there were like a hidden mask that pops up. It moves like 45 degrees and appear into like a hole into the glass. So like the moment of the Halloween, you can like, it was like really engaging with people, and it created, this video, we created a video for it, and it was like, it went viral on social media. Hedonism Why like posted, and then we found that a lot of people who tried it, like we don't know who are these people, but we found that a lot of people, they like reshare it and repost it themselves while they are trying this. And another store window, which this one was in London Science Museum. It was in last Christmas. And again, I will go more into the movement. It was like a Christmas factory where the robots are on a conveyor belt, rotating on the conveyor belt. And then there were on the right part of the screen, you can see like there were like a crane, and this crane is like lifting up another robot and putting it onto the shelf. So can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So that is a conveyor. The boxes, these boxes were the robots, and the pulley, which was acting like a crane, lifting up another robot. So this was like mainly the movement in this window. And then before going to the next slide, I want to, in the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you a couple of projects that we did with Selfridges. It was in 2020, early 2020, and we were like celebrating the new decade. So one of them has a bouncing ball that moves up and down, and the other one, there were like a swing that goes right to left. So we can play the videos. Yes, I will share it with you. So the connection is not really good to show how the swing is moving. But the idea is not, I don't want only to show you the installation or the thumbs up swinging right to left, but I want to show you the reaction of people and how people react to this kind of store window, animated store window. And in Argineering and with ArchiCad Play, we don't want only to make this easy to create, but also easy to replicate. So you don't only do it for like your high street or for like flagship store, but you can do it for all your store. You know, it's like very handy, very easy to use, and also it's reusable. So you can use it at the beginning in one store, and then you can scale it up very easily in many store, or you can ship it to another country to do another store in another country. So this is the idea of ArchiCad and how it can help to bring your store window to life. So this is the first part of the presentation, and then Zach will go through the second one, which is ArchiCad Play. But yeah, before this, want to show you another video that shows more the behind the scene of the product. So this wasn't an exhibition. Like there is a conveyor belt here. Here there are like box that open and close, and then the mirror that rotates, that flips 180 degree. In the conveyor belt, we added like a knob so people can control the speed. This is like this is the joint where it open and close the box when someone touch it. That's it.
So David, thank you so much for sharing that. And Zach, are you going to share with us some more, or or should we open it up for Q&A?
Yeah.
Zach, are you there? We might have lost the connection with Zach, but David, thank you so much for sharing that. As we're waiting for Zach, hopefully he'll come back. If not, we could, I've got some questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
So David, yeah, why don't you just leave that screen up? Perfect. And then let's just go into some Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to chat them. You could use the chat feature in the Zoom, or if you're on social media, you could just use it on the chat. We'll highlight your question to David. And David, I'll kick it off. So you showed a lot of great examples of of your product being used by different retailers. Talk to us about what's the budget for something like this. Like, how long does it take to get set up, and what approximately does it cost to execute something like this? You showed many different examples. I think they utilize different aspects of your technology, but generally speaking, sort of what sort of price are people looking to spend with your solution?
Okay, sure. So actually, ArchiCad is modular, as I show. It's it's depending of the scale of the project that you have. So, but on average, to create like an interactive window, it can cost you starting from $1,000 up to like $3,000. Depending on how many motors and sensors. And I would say it's some brands, or like some small brands, they do it like with like $500. And also for the big brands, we see a lot of like, they do their flagship stores with like $1,000 or a couple of $1,000, and then the other stores, they do it like with less than that by reducing the number of movement and the number of sensor in the window.
Got it.
So each motor can cost around, each motor can cost around $300, $400. So you can calculate it based on this. Regarding the time, I would say, some project, we had the brief of the project before the implementation by 2 weeks. And, it's like prepare everything, and the installation, you can do it like in 1 day to install all the motors, all the movement, and make it up and running.
Got it. Makes sense.
Great. Can you guys hear me now? Am I back in the game?
We can hear you.
So, I see there's a lot of people like asking for cost and examples, and I really feel that we should present the second part, which will be of their interest, which is ArchiCad Play, another great product, more kind of made for everyone and not just for high street brands and big budgets. So are you guys into this? Should we give it a go?
Can you share your screen, and then we'll go from there? I appreciate that you came back.
Sure thing. Sorry for the connection.
It's okay. We can actually sound you pretty clear. We can hear you pretty clear. So perfect.
So you can still hear me, right?
We can hear you and we can see your screen, so we're ready to rock and roll.
Great. So ArchiCad Play, like we've taken all this experience from the brands and the movements and interaction, and we've put that in a new package. In a way, we've made new accessories. We've made it much simpler for everyone out there, and we are launching it in a couple of weeks on Kickstarter. And I would really kind of want to share this journey with you guys because I think you're going to find it amazing. Well, so what is ArchiCad Play? Not everyone has the production facilities to fix things and make bespoke stuff. So what we wanted is to get our motors and take our sensors and make loads of new accessories, which are fun, and they can do various movements like a disc or arms, and then at the same time make new mounting platforms and clamps, and also start working with a new way to prepare social media content, stop motion, kinetic typography, or even videography. And what you can see here on your screen is a GIF animation, with our prototypes, and we're already producing those, and hopefully we're gonna hit Kickstarter hard and be able, to reach globally. So what we want is for everyone to be able to play with movement like a pro. We want to bring it to the house, to the studio, to the garage, to the university. Like people after the lockdown, we've seen an explosion of creativity, an explosion of pretty much, new ways of expressing and new movements, and people just want to be more fun. So ArchiCad Play, like ArchiCad, is a kit of motors, light controller, a lot of new corresponding accessories, sensors, and of course, what we did is we took that desktop software that you can do amazing stuff, and now we've made it, compatible for the phone. So as easy, as operating an app, you can do all these amazing things, and they can drastically simplify the process of creating mechanical motion. From a design perspective, where we wanted to focus is mounting, so we don't want people necessarily to have drills and to have different kinds of glue and things. So we designed all the accessories to be, straightforward. You can tie them together with cable ties, you can screw them or bolt them together. We've made them out of coated metal, so they're not gonna break. Or, if you want to, you can even customize them or clean them up. And as you can see on kind of like on the right side of the screen, we wanted all these accessories to be able to use with just one motor. And as you can see there, we've made the pulley smaller. We've kept our touch sensor, the plugger, which is amazing because you can pretty much plug anything that you put on in the socket and control the intensity of the power, or as David said earlier, you know, a fan, a light, anything. And we've brought new accessories like the camera slider, where you can now either attach your DSLR or your phone, and now control this movement with an object movement. And I'll go a bit into more detail, but the important thing for us was simplicity. How do we make this as simple as 1, 2, 3? So literally what we want people is just to plug it in, mount the accessory, set the parameters on the app, and that's it. It works. No fuss, no wiring, no nothing. And why is that? Because all our modules are connecting together wirelessly. So no need to worry about pretty much anything, just the power source. And to be honest, if we could make wireless energy, we would add that. But I guess we're a bit kind of ahead of the game there. And what we brought now, we brought new things to ArchiCad Play, as kind of to be able to make more complex scenes inside the house and get all these modules to work together. So creators out there can create amazing content. And because we've seen a lot of interest from stop motion designers and from origami artists, so we're already preparing plugins for stop motion software to be able to work with ArchiCad Play. And I guess, you know, when we talk with movement and creating content, no one wants something that is not kind of like very stable or smooth. And that's why we've taken a lot of time and put a lot of engineering and use artificial intelligence with our motors to compensate, to read the load, and to noise down all the high pitch sound of the motors, and pretty much be able to do continuous shooting and sort of make special effects, but in a kind of more DIY way. And again, just to conclude with our touch sensor, now, yes, you can make like an interactive poster, an interactive sculpture. You can, you know, you can just have fun at home. And pretty much, we just wanted to bring all this experience with the brands straight, as I said, you know, to the creative's house. Well, that's our kit. We're very excited for our upcoming Kickstarter campaign. It's the first time we're reaching out to a global audience to find, you know, their support and build a new community out there with people that are not afraid to express and to use movement and motion and to bring new ideas. And that's where I will leave this presentation, and we can answer as many questions you guys want. I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, Zach, thank you so much.
You.
If you could just leave up that screen with the thank you and the Argineering, I think that would be perfect. If you just feel free to share your screen and leave that up. That way people know who you are, contact you. Perfect. So let's just jump into the Q&A real quick. So Quinn O'Sullivan has a question. Knowing the potential for mechanical failure in mechanical installations, what safety features are included within your assemblies? I mean, obviously that's a great question. You're showing us a lot of great things, but talk to us about the safety and maybe even more than also just the safety, but just also how do you deal with things breaking down? Obviously, you know, every mechanical thing has issues when it comes to that. So maybe if you can address those points, that would be great.
Sure. So actually, you know, the main part of, there is two parts that cause failure in a moving or a mechanical system. The first one is the mounting of the system. So for example, for every motor, we created a specific mounting with the right bearing, with the right accessories that can carry the load. And we created a feature in the motor that if the load is much bigger than, or it's bigger than the capacity of the motor give you a notification on the app about this. Or and sometimes, for example, and this is the second cause that create a feature, that create a failure for the motor. For example, if you have a moving motor inside the store and someone like touch it or like by mistake, like push it while it's moving. So for example, when the motor sense that there is an obstacle in front of him, it automatically stops. And then it starts again after a few seconds. So this type of, we added like, as I'm saying, and Zach said, we added like AI features. We added the sensor in the motors that can detect this. We added the right accessories, and we tested this accessories a lot of times with different designers and with different cases to make sure that this is the right thing. So it's not only you are taking like a motor from a part and then bringing the accessories from another part and like trying to connect all of them. Definitely this will cause a failure. But when there is like a whole system that is made to connect to each other, this is how you can prevent a failure in a mechanical system.
So thank you for sharing that. We've got a couple more questions. I'll just highlight them to you. So, and thank you, Quinn, for that question. Devin Weiser is asking, do you have starter kits or is everything custom designed, fabricated, and shipped? For example, to make the origami turntable, how much would that cost? And that's a great question. Obviously, I think with your solution, you give lots of different tools for creatives to create essentially whatever they want to create. But do you have starter kits? Do you have, I guess it's like a Legos, right? I mean, obviously there is certain Legos that you can just buy individually, and then ones that you know exactly what you're going to get once you assemble it together. So talk to us about that.
Yes.
So, John, we will offer 4 different kits that have been sort of designed specifically for different creative areas. So yes, we will offer a beginner kit, which is going to be a rotator and loads of small accessories like the disc, like arms, the pulley, so someone else can start and do the experiment. And then we have other kits like the artist kit or the videographer or even the pro kit that has a lot of different modules and has a camera slider and has duplicates of many things. So if I'm answering your question, yes, we do have a beginner kit, and it will go up to the pro kit for someone who wants to do like a very big project.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And do you mind just sharing us what the approximate cost is of doing something like the origami turntable? Like what essentially does that cost?
So on Kickstarter, the price will be $190 for the beginner set. So below $200.
So $200. I think we
pretty
lost
much
that.
yes, 190, 200.
Perfect, $190. Okay, great. Yeah, and that's obviously a great price for the very unique solution. Damien is asking, can the modules be powered in Europe where the voltage is 220 to 240 volts?
Yeah, so all the modules can work in US and in Europe. It's very similar to your phone. When you charge your phone, it can work in any in any country right now. So, and also same for the plugger, it work with any, it work in any country. You just need to, specifically for the plugger, you just need on the app to specify which country you are in, so it can adjust itself depending on this.
Here's another good question that we just got. How long can the motors run for? What's the longevity of the motor? That's a great question. And I'll also ask another question. Is there a certain amount of minimum time or minimum usage that you guarantee with the motors, or is it just, you know, sort of you buy it as is? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I'll tell you, so for ArchiCad, what we guarantee for the motor to be running up to 6 months. And we have like a lot of store windows before where they were working for a couple of months continuously every day. They just need to be like turned off overnight, you know. But other than that, you know, it can be continuous work for months. And we give for every motor a warranty for 6 months, and for every sensor a warranty for 1 year.
Well, David, can I add something? Because I think,
sure.
So everyone that has experience with movement in Windows knows that, you know, your biggest fear is that a person from the store staff will switch off the window display, and the next morning, you know, you go there and something is not working. With ArchiCad and ArchiCad Play, this is not a problem, because the minute that power will be connected back to the modules, they will just pick up the animation that was planned to play straight from that point. So no need kind of like to restart again a system or restart a laptop, as traditionally is the case with motors inside Windows. So we find that as a great benefit. That, you know, you can stop and start your window whenever you want. Because another point here, which a lot of brands find difficulties, is their alarm system. So they have to deactivate any kind of movement inside the window because it triggers the alarms overnight. So with ArchiCad Play and ArchiCad, this is no more a problem. You can just have it on a timer. It switches off at a designated time, picks up for where it left next morning, let's say.
Got it. A couple more questions. How much weight can the motors bear, and how much weight and how much longevity? So, you know, what's the weight that it can hold, and then also what's the longevity as a ratio per the weight?
Okay, so the weight is depending on the type of the motor and the accessory. So for example, for the one in the middle, the motor with the desk, you can put on it, I would say you can put up to like 7 kilos. But for example, for the pulley, it can lift up from the ground up to 3 kilos. So it depends of which accessories. But I would say on average, it can push or bear something up to 5 kilos. So this is on something, but it varies on the accessories that you are using. It varies about how you are using, if it's like vertical or horizontal, and all this.
And then, you know, you mentioned that amount of weight. Does that influence longevity, or is it still, you know, that amount of weight and it can last for, you know, 6 months to a year?
Yeah. So actually, yeah. So up to this weight, it can, if you put this, it can be running up to 6 months, and we give a warranty up to 6 months. You know, definitely if you are using it for less than this weight, definitely it will be more than 6 months.
Got it. I think that makes sense. Another question here. Amy Meadows is asking, are there any issues with extreme weather and any tech applied / attached to glass? So basically, are there any issues in regards to any extreme weather or any sort of technology that's applied to glass? Obviously, we saw things on the ceiling. Can something be mounted on the glass? Obviously, you saw the touch, the hand touch. But talk to us about mounting things on glass and also any weather related issues that people might have to think about.
Okay, so I will tell you. So we didn't have any problem about this. We used the glass in a lot of places and a lot of countries. And I will tell you, we used the motors in some projects that there were like activation or experiential marketing on the beach where the weather was like 40 degrees and they work like very smooth, So we tested them a lot of times in, they worked in like very high temperature. They worked in very low temperature, like minus 10 degree or something like this. And we didn't have a problem with it. So is this what he mean by an extreme weather condition, or he means something else?
Got it. Okay. We're getting lots of questions, and before I continue the questions here on Zoom, I just want to acknowledge Richard Whalen, who is actually coming in from Stockholm, Sweden, and he is the head of visual display at Stroms in Sweden. So he just wants to acknowledge, thanking you and Zach for just all this information, and he's actually very excited about what you have going on. And thank you very much for sharing that, Richard. Let me just continue with the questions here on Zoom. I think the products look excellent. I am a videographer who creates product videos, and these could be used for remote real-time animation. However, before investing $860 into a Kickstarter, I would want to see some more examples of the kits being used for this application. I know nothing about window displays, but I know there would be a huge market in the videography, visual engineering industries if you get this right. And I think we agree. But yeah, I mean, Damon, absolutely right. Even though $860 might not necessarily sound like a lot of money, it is a lot of money. And obviously, if you're using this for a specific purpose, you would want to make sure that this is working right and it's working in the way that you want it to work. Because it's a big investment in time and money and resources to want to achieve something. So I know, David, you're a new company. Why don't you talk to us about that that sort of comment / concern that Damien has?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I totally understand your point, and I totally agree with it, and this is why we are working on a lot of examples, so other examples and a lot of examples, how they can use it and how it is implemented. But on the other hand, this is something that to use it in videography and to move a camera or something like this, it's in terms of weight, it's very much less than, for example, putting like this, like the thumbs up on the Selfridges window swinging. So it was this one was like more than 10 kilos, and it was like working for a couple of months non-stop every day. So what I want to say about this, this is something that we really care about it, and we want to not only create this movement, but we are planning to create more. So when we started by these accessories, we put it like a lot of time and effort to make it really, to make it work really well and really with everything, every word we said about the product, we want this to happen, you know, and we want people to experience it very smooth. So there were like an image in the presentations that Zach shared it, a camera slider, and we put it a glass of water on the camera, and it was like moving from the right to the left. And you can find the water was like very stable with no jitters or with no vibration. And so this is how we show it for people, the stability and the durability of the, yeah, this one, the durability of the product.
And I appreciate that you sharing that, David. And obviously, Damien, you know, with WindowsWear, we obviously want to showcase all the different ways that brands and retailers are using, you know, services and technologies and tools like these. So also, you know, on the WindowsWear profile, and as Argineering is one of our members, we'll always be sure to highlight all the different ways that different people and different brands are utilizing, you know, utilizing this technology. And I agree with David, it's only obviously going to get better over time with more examples and more use cases.
Sure.
But maybe you guys should connect offline just to see what his requirements are, and you know, try to you know, ease him into utilizing you know, a product like this. We've got another question here. Can vertical or horizontal handle more weight? That's a really good question. And what about rain or moisture affecting components attached to the glass?
Okay, sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. So in regards to the motors, to the kit, what can handle more weight? Something that's vertical or horizontal? Because I think the weight is a good question, and a lot of people have been asking about the weight. So when you're thinking about the weight, do you think about the weight as something where it's vertical or something where it's horizontal movement? And then the second question is about the glass. Anything mounted on the glass, you know, Amy talked about the extreme temperature, and this question is more about, you know, if there's any rain or moisture affecting the glass, and then if there's any components that are attached to that glass, how do you know, how does this device or your devices deal with that?
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I understand your question. So just before going through this question for Damien, the last question, please feel free to connect with us through Instagram, and then we can take it from there on a private chat. And regarding your question, John, right now, the touch sensor, we put it inside the store, and it can detect when someone touched it from outside the store. So the extreme weather don't affect the touch sensor because everything is installed from inside the store and it works through the glove. So this is why the extreme weather condition, like the moisture, like rain or all this, it doesn't affect the touch sensor because it's inside the window. So this is the first question. The second question, yeah, sure.
Sure. Can I just add something to that to explain a bit the mechanics more, specifically for Windows? So if you guys look at the touch module on the lower right side, you don't really have to attach the whole box. So this metallic part is the part that needs to be attached on the glass. And usually the way we do that is by attaching the sensor on the glass and then applying a small decal or a piece of cut vinyl on the outside of the glass to kind of like to hide the adhered sensor on top of it. So you wouldn't have any issues with moisture, only if you're using a piece of cling or a piece of vinyl. That's the only problem that it might have with moisture or heavy weather. And if it's cut vinyl, there's no problem. Only if it's a cling vinyl, it might bubble up. But people that do Windows, I'm sure that they've encountered these issues.
Well, perfect. look, I think we're going to wrap it up. We're about at the hour mark. I very much appreciate David, Zach, you spending the time to highlight your company and all the projects that you're doing, and also the direction that you're taking things. And look, obviously, we'd love to invite you back. You know, holiday time is coming. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of new and innovative examples that are going to be used by different brands, not only for window displays, but also, you know, to provide animation and animatronics to essentially any display. And also, you know, you can find more information about Argineering on WindowsWear, or as David mentioned, on their Instagram, or even, you know, their website, which is argineering.net. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in for the entire hour. And thank you again, David and Zach, and we will see everyone soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you,
And
John.
anyone out
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.